Hey guys, welcome to another online math class. This video will be about box plots, and by the end of this lesson our goal is to know what a box plot is, be able to construct a box plot with and without outliers, and finally be able to compare data sets using parallel box plots. Let's just pause the video here and take a couple of minutes to write these down. Alright, so let's start off with our first one. What is a box plot? So this is what a box plot looks like, and you guys may have seen this before in your previous years of maths. So what this really is, it's just a visual representation of the 5-figure summary that we learnt last lesson, last term. If you don't remember what the 5-figure summary is, it is the minimum, the lower quartile or Q1, the median or Q2, the upper quartile, and the maximum. So all these points are shown in the box plot. As we can see in the next slide here, I've got my minimum value on the very left there. I'll just point that out. I've got Q1 shown by that line, Q2 or the median shown by that middle line, Q3 or the upper quartile shown by that line, and the maximum value shown at the very end of that. So this middle part is called the box. I'll just shade that in. And these two lines on the end, these are called whiskers. That's why it's called a box and whisker plot. But we just shorten that to box plot most of the time. So that's what it would look like without an outlier. With an outlier, however, we draw that separately like that. So this one using an X, you could just draw the outlier with a circle as well. And just remember that there is a formula to figure out the upper and lower fence to determine if there are any outliers in our data. Alright, so let's have a go at constructing our own box plot. So consider the given data set, determine whether any outliers exist by first finding Q1 and Q3. Alright, so it tells us the first step, we need to find out Q1 and Q3 first. So let's have a go at doing that. So the first thing we need to do is to order them from lowest to highest. So I'll just do that here. And that's what you would get once you have ordered it correctly. Once you've done that, to find Q1 and Q3, we need to find the median. So let's do that. So remembering the formula for the median was n plus 1 over 2. And if you count the number of data there is a total of 13. So n will become 13 plus 1 over 2, which equals 14 over 2, which gives me 7. So my 7th data point is going to be my median. So let's count that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So my median is going to be 5. I'll just write that down. Once I've done that, I need to find the median of the lower half of the data there and the upper half to find Q1 and Q3. So once you've found the median of that, so there's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's going to be in between my third and the fourth. So there, so I know Q1 is going to be 3.5. The average of 3 and 4 is going to be 3.5. And over here it's going to be between 6 and 7. So Q3 is going to be 6.5. Alright, so I've done the first step. It says first find Q1 and Q3. We've done that and done that. Now we need to determine if there are any outliers there. So we need to find the lower fence and the upper fence. Let's start with the lower fence. The formula was lower fence equals Q1 minus 1.5 times IQR. I'll just write the upper fence formula there as well. It's just the other way, except using Q3. So Q3 plus 1.5 times IQI. Just make sure you got that formula somewhere down in your books. Alright, so let's substitute those values in. 3.5 goes in there. Minus 1.5 times IQR. IQI is just Q3 minus Q1. I'll just write that in. And that gives me a value of 3. 6.5 minus 3.5 will give you 3. So it'll be 3.5 minus 1.5 times 3. And then once you've done that, just put that straight into your calculator, just like so, and then press enter, and it gives you a value of -1. So my lower fence is -1. So do the same thing with the upper fence. So Q3, which is 6.5, plus 1.5 times 3. Once you've got that, put that straight into your calculator, just like so, and then press enter, and it gives you a value of 11. So let's write that in. So my boundary, lower boundary is going to be -1 and my upper boundary is going to be 11. So let's check if there's any data that's outside of that. So there's nothing in the negative, so there's nothing, no outliers towards my left, but there is an outlier towards my right, so past my upper fence. And that is the value of 12 there. So we have one outlier there. So let's just write that, outliers equals 12. We have 1 there. Alright, that's question A done. Let's move on to question B now, which is to draw a box plot. Alright, so to do that, we're going to need a scale there. I'll just copied one in there. So just make sure the scale is big enough to include the smallest and the largest value. As you can see, the smallest is 2 and the biggest is 12. You can go beyond that if you feel like. So remembering there's no outliers on the left, but there is one on the right. Let's mark that in first. So the outlier was 12. We can draw it as a circle. So our median was 5. Let's just draw that in with a straight line. Q1 or the lower quartile was 3.5. Let's draw that in. And the upper quartile or Q3 was 6.5. Let's draw that in too. So that makes the box part of our box plot. So let's draw that like so. Just connect those. Just make sure you're using a ruler when you're doing this. Once you've got that, we need to sketch the whiskers now. So my lowest value was 2 and there's no outliers there. So just draw the whiskers extending to the 2. And we know that 12 is an outlier. So our whisker needs to go to the next biggest point that isn't an outlier. So that's 9. So our whisker goes all the way to 9 there. And that will be the end of question B. So as you can see, that's my lowest value, min, the minimum, that's Q1, that's Q2 or the median, that's Q3, and that's my maximum there. But that's an outlier, so it's drawn separately like so. Alright, so now it's your turn. Very similar question. Have I got this one? And just unpause the video once you're ready to go through it with me. So once again, first step is to find Q1 and Q3, and to do that we need to order it from smallest to largest. So if you've done it correctly, that's what it should look like there. So if you count them up, there's a total of 10 values. So my median is going to be 10 plus 1 over 2, which gives me 11 divided by 2, which is 5.5. So my median is going to be between the 5th and the 6th value. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to be between 15 and 17. And the average of 15 and 17 is just going to be 16. So my median is 16. Now I need to find Q1 and Q3. So there's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 values on either side of that value there. So my median here, so Q1 is going to be 12 and Q3 is going to be 19. So I've got those values now. I've found Q1 and Q3. Now I need to find the lower fence and the upper fence to check if there are any outliers. Let's start with the lower fence again. So remembering lower fence was Q1 minus 1.5 times IQR. So IQR once again is Q3 minus Q1, which gives me 7. So lower fence is going to be 12 minus 1.5 times 7 there. And once you've calculated that, that should give you a value of 1.5. And now let's do the upper fence. And once you've worked it out correctly, it should give you a value of 29.5. So let's have a look if there are any outliers. The maximum value is a 29, so I don't see any outliers there. And the minimum value is a 1. So I see one outlier there. 1 is a bit smaller than 1.5. So that's my only outlier there. Outlier, let's write that in, equals 1. So now I'm up to question B. So once again, I'm going to need a scale like so, just to make sure it includes the lowest and the largest value. 1 was an outlier, so let's draw that in. I'll just rub out the upper fence calculation because I need a bit of space there. And Q1 was 12, so let's draw that in there. Median was 16, or Q2, and Q3, the upper quartile is 19. So that's my box part. Just connect those to make it look like a rectangle. Not very neat there, but you guys get the idea. And then I need to find the smallest value. That's not the outlier, so that's 8. So my whisker extends all the way to the 8. And my next whisker is going to go all the way to the end there. I think that says 24. Excuse my handwriting. So the whisker is going to go all the way to 24. So just make sure yours looks a bit neater using a ruler there. And just give yourself a tick if you got these correct. And one last thing we need to know is something called parallel box plots. These are just 2 or more box plots drawn on the same cell, like we can see here, and these are used to compare data sets within the same context. So there's an example here. A denotes female actors and B denotes male actors, and this shows the ages of Oscar-winning actors from 1975 to 2004. So we're looking at 2 data sets within the same context there. So context is the ages of Oscar-winning actors, and the 2 data sets are, first one is female and the second is male. So when drawing these, just make sure they're drawn on the same axes. Otherwise, that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys all back online.